If you're a business owner trying to make smarter decisions without hiring an entire research team, you've clicked on the right video. I am walking you through exactly how I use ChatGPT as a market researcher with the exact prompts that I use, the exact workflows with no fluff. But here's the thing, ChatGPT is wonderful for some things, and sometimes you need to have a real human step in. So let's get into how I test hypotheses, analyze competitors, and gather audience insights, all using deep research. This changed how I approach building strategies, and it might do the same for you. So the first thing you're gonna do is start with a goal. What problem are you trying to solve? Are you exploring a new offer that you haven't tried before? Or are you trying to get a sneak peek into what the competition's doing and what's working for them? Having that clarity will guide the prompts that you give into ChatGPT. So an example of how to get started is type in there, act as a market researcher, coaching a small business in the food and beverage industry, trying to come up with new ideas for flavors. Where do I start? And it'll give you a step-by-step guide, if you ask for step-by-step, into how you should frame your thinking and where you should go next. I think ChatGPT is a wonderful tool to minimize the time between having a blank sheet of paper staring at you and having some traction on ideas. So that's a great way to get started. So you may have noticed when I gave you that example prompt that I gave ChatGPT a role to play. Think of ChatGPT as an actor. It is using all of its information to give you the answer it thinks is going to be most helpful. And it needs a little bit of filtering to give you the best response. So by starting with the role you want it to play, it just helps narrow it down for you and makes it more effective. So there's actually a repeatable framework that I like to use when prompting ChatGPT. So I start with a role, what role I want it to play. Then I move into the assignment. So what do I need it to do for me that moment? Then I move into the context. So what's that background information that it needs to be aware of in order to meet my needs? Lastly, I give it a format. So how do I want the response given back to me? Is it a template I'm looking for? Is it a checklist? Give it a format, and that will help you craft expert level ChatGPT prompts. Now, I am going to tell you one of the best ways to pressure test your thinking. So sometimes I see business owners get really excited about a new idea and they are wanting to pressure test it before they invest. And that is the smart thing to do. So before you invest in any research, you can go into ChatGPT and pressure test this. But here's the smart way to do it. You're going to ask ChatGPT to act as your target audience and tell you what it likes, what it dislikes about your solution. Now, how do you get it to act like your target audience? You're going to use this prompt. Act like target audience and tell me what you think about this solution, giving what you like and what you dislike about it. Then we're going to have a conversation so I can better understand the emotional drivers of why you would buy it or why you wouldn't. And then you just have a conversation. And that will help you understand where the idea has real merit and where it doesn't. If this step-by-step breakdown of how I use ChatGPT is helping you rethink how you can use AI in your business, go ahead and subscribe. I am going to be sharing regularly use cases and strategies to help businesses make smarter decisions faster. So you don't want to miss something like this. Go ahead and subscribe now, and let's keep building. Another way that I like to use ChatGPT as personas is to better understand my audience's motivations and their pain points. Here is the prompt that I used to do that. It's a little bit lengthy, so bear with me, I'm just gonna read it. You are a market researcher. Using the inputs below, prototype 4 to 6 audience segments and the emotional drivers behind their decisions. Your job is to produce clear, practical hypotheses I can validate and quickly turn into messaging and testing plans. Here are the inputs. Enter your inputs, so industry, target audience, your offer, etc. Format your response as a driver map matrix, which shows the emotional drivers as rows and columns as the segments. That was a little bit of a mouthful, But what you get is so rich in insights. So you get to see what are those top pain points, what are those top motivators for your audience in a way that comes back in minutes and not months of research. And so I will say though, this is a starting point. So what ChatGPT is doing is it is building this off of its existing knowledge. You don't know if that knowledge comes from a Wikipedia page, Uncle Joe's Facebook page. So use this as a starting point, but if you're going to be investing money behind this idea, you're gonna want real human validation for your idea. My rule of thumb is for every dollar that you're going to spend bringing this idea to life, this business idea, spend 1% of that on research to validate it. So you're not wasting time, you're not wasting effort or money behind something that really doesn't have an audience. Now let's get into competitive analysis. Here, you're going to want to compare maybe 2 or 3 competitors along their positioning, their messaging, their offer to understand how they stack up maybe to what you are offering for your business. So the prompt that I would use is act as a market researcher and compare brand A, brand B, and brand C, their performance over a specific time frame, using SWOT analysis focusing on positioning, messaging, and offers. Format your response as a table where the rows are the SWOT attributes and the columns are the brands. Now you'll notice that I gave a specific time point for this, and that's because as competitors have been in the market and have established themselves, probably their positioning has changed. Probably your positioning has changed since you started your business. So putting a time frame will make sure you have the most up-to-date, most relevant information. I have saved the best for last. This is probably my favorite part of the job, exploring what gaps exist in the market and where trends are headed. So you can do this with Google Trends, you can do this with your own customer data, but you can also do this with ChatGPT, and tying the 3 together actually makes it even stronger. So with ChatGPT, you're going to use this prompt. Act as a market researcher, summarize the top 10 unmet needs from 100 Amazon reviews of, and insert your category. Rank order your responses from most mentioned to least mentioned. And that will generate a really nice list for you to understand where are those opportunities, where could you possibly expand your business in the future to reach your same audience with a new offering. Really cool stuff. So now you know exactly how I use ChatGPT to supercharge my market research. From pressure testing initial ideas to finding future opportunities, it can all be done with ChatGPT. But here's the thing. Knowing the process and knowing when to use the process are 2 separate things. And YouTube thinks it knows the perfect video to help you do just that. Go ahead and click it on the screen.